Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. So in this video we are going to understand about table spaces. Before going to understand about table space, let us understand how the data is stored in an Oracle database. A database is divided into one or more logical storage units called table spaces, and these table spaces are divided into logical units of storage called segments. And further, the segments are divided into extents. These extents are nothing but a collection of contiguous data blocks in the Oracle database. So this is the logical representation of the storage units of a database. So if you can consider bottom to top of the logical representation like data block, extent, segments, and then table space. The smallest unit in the Oracle database is called as data block, and couple of contiguous data blocks are making extents, and couple of extents are making segments, and couple of segments are making the data actual table space. So before we go to these storage units, let us clear one thing, like we can have multiple table spaces in our database, but in and we can have multiple data files in a table space, but one single data file cannot have multiple table spaces, because data file is the representation of that table space, so it cannot represent two table spaces. Before we move to physical level representation of the storage units, let us more focus on the logical structures. So logically organize the data that are physically stored in the data files. It in table space belongs to only one database, and one database has at least one table space, and that table space must have at least one data file allocated to that table space. Since don't think like it's a table space means it will only collect the, or it will only store the data of a table. No, it is a logical representation of the, and it is called actually table space. That doesn't mean that it will only consider the table data. No, it will be storing all the database objects like data indexes, views, tables, materials, views, sequences, etc. And earlier also we told like a table space can have multiple data files, but the a data file cannot belongs to multiple table spaces. You can create the Oracle database in by creating multiple table spaces and multiple data files. We can create a large database. So you can see in practical environment, if the database size is huge, and there should be a huge number of data files and like table spaces. Now we all know that at the end of the day these data files are stored in the storage systems, like it can be a SAN network, or any ASM file storage, or any kind of disk. So actually it is being stored in the disk only, or any storage devices, whether it's a network device, whether it's a SAN, whether it's a ASM storage, whatever it is, physically it is that data is being stored in that location. We'll more learn about the storage units, physical storage units later. So yeah, but these storage systems are used to store your actual data. On the left hand side, it is the representation of the logical way of storing the data, and in the right hand side it is a physical way we are storing the actual data. Now take a look on at a different representation, like Here we are considering one table space that belongs to data files, and inside the data files you can see one segment is there. It is these two extents are creating one segment, and inside the segment there are two extents, and inside the extents there are multiple data blocks. So it may be the size may be differ of the different data files. Like you can see in the right hand side the data file is having like 72 KB of data blocks, and in the left hand side the data file is having only 24 KB. But totally this two data files are representing 96 KBs as a segment. You see each block like each block is having data, and this data are being together it is making one extent, and extents couple of extents are making one segment. This is what we were talking about the earlier stage: Oracle data block, extent, segments, and the table space. And inside this data file, this is how logically it is being represented. And at the end of the day, these data files are being stored either any third-party storage or any whether a disk or whatever it is, any storage devices. Ultimately, we can see these data files in the file system. So I hope you have understood about this structure, physical logical structure of representation of the table space. Now you can see this is the list. This data block is called as a list data unit or smallest data unit of a database. Let's talk about this. Actually, these blocks are containing the actual data. So how these datas are being stored over the blocks? This is an actual look of a single database block, where there are a couple of things are there, like common and variable header, table directory, row directory, free space, and row data. This is the entire this is the entire database, and we know database can obtain multiple table spaces, and at the end of the structure of the storage there is the data block where actual data is being. So the common and variable header contains the general block information, such as the block address and the type of the segment, for example whether the segment is a data or an index segment. And the next is table directory. The table directory contains the information about the table having rows in the block, and down that there is row directory. The row directory contains information about the actual rows in the block. It contains the address of each row piece in the row data area. In the row data area, like it will be having the addresses of each row data piece inside this, and in free space will be there for every data block. Suppose there is any insert or for any kind of insert or something, any operations, for that one it will always have a free space. And now coming to row data, this is where the actual data for the rows is stored, and the free space, that is what we were trying to discuss. is one which free and used to insert any new rows. So that is it for this table space. Hope you have understood how logically and physically the data is being stored over the Oracle database. So if you have learned something, make sure that you like this video, share with your friends who needs to understand, and stay tuned with this channel. We'll be coming with couple of more videos. Not only Oracle, will be coming with MongoDB, Postgres, and other databases as well. Thank you very much. Bye.